Level American rock star? Jungkook's tattoos trigger a Justin Bieber comparison. Is he now playing in the US pop league? What happens when a 5-second video is enough to shake the global pop conversation, blur the borders between K-pop and American rock pop mythology, and ignite a debate that refuses to stay inside fan circles? What happens when a single pose, a lifted arm, exposed ink, and a stare into the camera suddenly forces the world to ask a question that once felt unthinkable? Has Jungkook crossed the invisible line from K-pop idol to full-fledged American-level rock star? This is not a rumor whispered in the corners of fan forums. This is not a theory invented out of thin air. This is a cultural moment unfolding in real time, triggered by a viral behind-the-scenes clip from a Rolling Stone photo shoot that detonated across social media and instantly reframed how millions see Jungkook, not just as the golden magne of BTS, but as a global pop figure whose visual language, confidence, and artistic posture now echo the icons of the American music canon. The video is short, almost deceptively simple. Jungkook stands in a minimalist studio, wearing a black tank top and a loose leather jacket, his posture relaxed, his expression calm yet charged. As he lifts his arm, the camera catches what fans had long speculated about but rarely seen in full clarity: the complete tapestry of his tattoos, intricate, deliberate, unapologetically visible. The Rolling Stone logo looms in the background, iconic, loaded with decades of rock history. In that split second, the internet did what it does best. It connected us, drew comparisons, and escalated the moment into a question that spread faster than the video itself. Why does Jungkook suddenly look like he belongs in the same visual universe as Justin Bieber? The comparison did not emerge randomly. For years, tattoos have functioned as a cultural shorthand in Western pop and rock imagery, signaling rebellion, artistic autonomy, vulnerability, and adulthood. Justin Bieber's heavily tattooed body has become part of his brand narrative, symbolizing his transformation from teen idol to complex, sometimes chaotic, but undeniably influential pop figure. When fans saw Jungkook's tattoos framed through the lens of Rolling Stone, an institution synonymous with American rock legitimacy, the association felt inevitable. Social media reactions exploded with raw, emotional language that mirrored shock more than simple admiration. Fans did not just say he looked good. They said he looked unreal, insane, dangerous in the best possible way. They used the same vocabulary historically reserved for rock stars, not idols. The speed at which the clip accumulated tens of thousands of likes and hundreds of thousands of views within hours revealed something deeper than hype. It revealed readiness. The audience was ready to see Jungkook differently, but the real story is not the tattoos themselves. The real story is what those tattoos represent in this specific context and moment in his career. Jungkook has always been meticulous about image control, growth, and timing. Nothing about this reveal felt accidental. The setting, the styling, the silence of the clip, the absence of choreography, the stillness, it all signaled intention. This was not performance Jungkook. This was artist Jungkook, presenting his body as narrative, his skin as archive. When Rolling Stone confirmed Jungkook as the cover star of its December 2025 issue, history quietly shifted. He became the first K-pop soloist to achieve this milestone, a fact that carries weight far beyond magazine sales. Rolling Stone is not just a publication. It is a gatekeeper of cultural legitimacy in Western music discourse. To be placed on its cover is to be acknowledged not merely as popular, but as culturally consequential. IN leaked excerpts from the interview. Jungkook articulated a philosophy that resonated deeply with this visual transformation. He spoke about wanting to create the flow rather than be dragged by it. That statement alone reframes his tattoos not as aesthetic decoration, but as symbols of authorship. They are not there to shock. They are there to claim space. This is where the American comparison intensifies. In the US pop ecosystem, artists who successfully transition from manufactured images into self-directed creative forces often mark that shift through visible, sometimes controversial, physical transformations. Tattoos, stripped-down visuals, raw interviews, and collaborations outside comfort zones all function as signals of agency. Jungkook's Rolling Stone moment aligns perfectly with this pattern. Yet it does so without imitation. The tattoos are his. The aura is his. The confidence feels earned, not borrowed. The debate quickly moved beyond fandom spaces into broader pop culture commentary. Is Jungkook still operating within the K-pop framework, or has he stepped into a hybrid global identity that dissolves those boundaries altogether? Is it even meaningful anymore to label him primarily as a K-pop idol when his solo work dominates Western charts and his imagery resonates with audiences who may not engage with Korean pop culture at all? His 2023 solo album Golden already planted the seeds of this conversation. The project's sonic palette leaned heavily into Western pop and R&B traditions, while still retaining a melodic sensitivity that felt distinctly Jungkook. Singles like 7 didn't just perform well, they dominated. Topping the Billboard Hot 100 was not simply a commercial achievement. It was proof of compatibility with the most competitive music market in the world. Yet charts alone do not redefine perception. Imagery does. Narrative does. Symbolism does. That is why this tattoo reveal hit differently. It was visual proof of evolution, not just musical success. It told a story without words, one that audiences instinctively understood. Some critics have questioned whether this moment signals a departure from K-pop identity, framing it as a potential loss rather than expansion. But that interpretation misunderstands the nature of cultural exchange in a globalized industry. Jungkook's transformation does not erase his roots. It amplifies them by placing them on a larger stage. His tattoos do not make him less Korean or less connected to BTS. They make him more visibly himself, a quality increasingly valued across all music cultures. Fans, particularly ARMY, have embraced this shift with overwhelming enthusiasm. In Indonesia, pre-orders for the Rolling Stone issue surged, with fans sharing screenshots, countdowns, and emotional reactions that bordered on disbelief. Many described the moment as watching someone grow up in real time, not just aging, but stepping fully into authorship of their identity. The timing adds another layer of intrigue. With BTS's highly anticipated comeback scheduled for early 2026, Jungkook's solo visibility raises strategic questions. Is this a glimpse into the group's post-military era aesthetic? Is Jungkook signaling a darker, more mature sonic direction for what comes next? Or is this simply a personal chapter unfolding alongside, rather than instead of, the group narrative? What makes this moment particularly powerful is its restraint. There was no announcement, no dramatic reveal, no explanation. Just a clip, just ink, just presence. In an industry saturated with noise, that kind of quiet confidence feels almost radical. Comparisons to Justin Bieber continue to circulate, but they increasingly feel insufficient. While Bieber's tattoos once symbolized rebellion against a restrictive teen idol image, Jungkook's feel like declarations of continuity. He is not breaking away from who he was. He is extending it. The tattoos do not reject idolhood. They reinterpret it. So, is Jungkook now playing in the same league as American pop superstars? The more interesting question might be why the league itself needs redefining. In a world where music transcends borders instantly, where cultural symbols migrate and transform, Jungkook's moment suggests that the old hierarchies no longer apply. He is not entering the American Pop League as a guest. He is reshaping what that league looks like. The Rolling Stone cover, the viral tattoo clip, the emotional fan response, and the ongoing debate all point to the same conclusion. This is not a phase. This is a recalibration. Jungkook is not asking permission to be seen differently. He is presenting himself as he already is, trusting the audience to catch up. And perhaps that is why the question lingers so powerfully. Not because we doubt his place among global superstars, but because we are watching the definition of stardom itself shift in real time. When Jungkook lifts his arm and reveals his tattoos, he is not just showing skin. He is revealing a future where borders blur, categories collapse, and artistry speaks louder than labels. So the next time that 5-second clip loops across your screen, ask yourself this. Are we witnessing Jungkook chasing the image of an American rock star? Or are we witnessing American pop culture quietly adjusting to the reality that a Korean artist has rewritten its visual language? The answer may already be inked in plain sight. The The conversation does not stop there, and perhaps that is precisely the point. Once the image has been seen, once the ink has been counted, once the comparisons have been made, the question evolves into something far more unsettling for traditional pop narratives. If Jungkook no longer fits neatly into the category of K-pop idol, then where exactly does he stand now? And why does that realization feel both thrilling and disruptive at the same time? In American pop history, the transition from idol to rock star has always been treated as a rite of passage, often messy, often controversial, and rarely controlled. Artists are expected to stumble publicly, rebel loudly, and sever ties with their earlier images in dramatic fashion. What makes Jungkook's transformation so fascinating is how little chaos accompanies it. There is no scandal attached to his tattoos, no public breakdown, no forced declaration of reinvention. Instead, there is composure. There is silence. There is confidence that does not ask for validation. This is where the media tension begins to sharpen. Western outlets have long framed K-pop idols as products of rigid systems, polished to perfection but lacking autonomy. Jungkook's Rolling Stone moment challenges that stereotype head-on without ever directly addressing it. The tattoos become a visual argument. They suggest choice, permanence, and self-authorship, qualities traditionally celebrated in Western rock mythology. Yet Jungkook does not adopt the self-destructive tropes often romanticized alongside that mythology. He presents maturity, not rebellion for rebellion's sake. Observers have started to notice how differently this moment is being discussed outside core fandom spaces. The language shifts. Instead of talking about choreography precision or fan service, conversations revolve around presence, aura, and artistic gravity. These are the same terms used when discussing American pop figures who have transcended their original markets. That shift in vocabulary matters. It signals a change not just in how Jungkook is seen, but in how global audiences are learning to talk about artists who come from outside the Western mainstream. The tattoos themselves, once a mystery, now function like open-ended text. Fans analyze their placement, their symbolism, their evolution over time. But more importantly, casual viewers read them intuitively. They read adulthood. They read experience. They read someone who has lived under extreme visibility and emerged with a sense of self intact. In American pop culture, that narrative carries immense weight. There is also an undercurrent of discomfort that surfaces in some critiques. Not everyone is ready to accept a K-pop artist occupying visual territory historically dominated by Western musicians. When people ask whether Jungkook is allowed to be compared to American rock pop icons, the question reveals more about the boundaries they cling to than about Jungkook himself. Art, after all, does not require permission. It only requires resonance. The emotional reaction from fans underscores how personal this moment feels. Many have followed Jungkook since his teenage years, watching him grow under relentless scrutiny. Seeing him now, tattooed, self-possessed, framed by Rolling Stone's legacy, feels like a shared victory. It is not just about pride. It is about recognition. Recognition that growth does not have to look like abandonment of one's past. It can look like integration. Speculation continues to swirl about what this signals for the future. Will Jungkook's next solo work lean further into rock-pop aesthetics? Will BTS's upcoming comeback reflect a darker, more globally hybrid sound? Or is this simply a visual chapter that exists independently of musical direction? The lack of clear answers only fuels anticipation. Mystery, after all, has always been a powerful currency in pop culture. What cannot be ignored is how seamlessly Jungkook occupies the Rolling Stone frame. There is no sense of novelty, no feeling that he is an outsider borrowing prestige. He looks like he belongs there, as if the decades of rock history behind that logo have quietly made room for him. That visual harmony speaks louder than any press release ever could. As the clip continues to circulate, it accumulates meaning. Each repost adds another layer of interpretation. Each comparison expands the conversation. The question is no longer whether Jungkook resembles American pop icons, but whether those icons now share space with him in a newly globalized imagination of stardom. Perhaps this is the real shock of the moment. Not that Jungkook looks like an American rock star, but that the idea of what an American rock star looks like is no longer geographically fixed. Tattoos, confidence, artistic intent, these are no longer exclusive symbols.